I'm Nicholas Ballasy here at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce with KeKe Palmer, who just spoke on stage and was interviewed at the International Women's Day Forum. Thanks for taking some time to speak with me.
Thank you so much. I've had a really great time. I'm glad I came.
You touched upon a lot of issues in the panel discussion. What does International Women's Day mean to you? Is it a call to action for women, especially with a lot of issues going on in pop culture, in the music industry, in the movie industry? What does it mean personally for you?
I think it means different things to different people, right? Because we still have people that maybe aren't activating quote-unquote major changes in society, but they are still doing that by just being loving to one another, respecting one another, appreciating one another, taking care of the young girls that are going to be the women of tomorrow. So whether you're doing that or whether you're actually, going into this big change or policies and etc., they're both necessary. We need all those different types of women doing those amazing things in order to continue us to move forward in a positive way, in a fair way.
Now, while you're here in Washington, do you plan any meetings with lawmakers or advocating for any specific issue? And if not, is there something you would like to push forward and get into the national conversation?
I don't have anything like any meetings or anything like that, but I do feel like in the future I could possibly see myself trying to do something like that. But I am still learning myself of what's happening in our world today. You know what I mean? Really understanding how policies work, how the government works. What I can even do as a citizen. How can I activate the change that I want to see? So before I start trying that, I would want to make sure that I really knew and was well aware of what it was I was talking about, and I'm getting there.
You've been called a master of social media, of Instagram specifically. What are your tips for businesses, for individuals trying to get their message out and make an impact?
It would be to be putting out constant content and being specific and strategic about it, so the expectation can be there day to day on your page, whether you're posting music on Mondays or you're posting comedy on Tuesdays or dance on Thursdays. Your audience will start to look forward to that, and it's almost like you're creating your own network. So it's consistency and it's strategy with whatever messages you're trying to get across. When it comes to my page, it's all about positivity. It's all about being carefree, trying to enjoy your life, expressing yourself through whatever avenues that you see fit, and of course getting a few laughs. I love doing sketches, I love doing skits, and so that's what my fans and my audience or my followers have understood about my page, and that's what they come for, and I'm consistent with it, mostly because I love it.
Now, one of the biggest stories right now in the entertainment world is R. Kelly and what he's going through. You posted about that on Instagram. Do you mind just giving a reaction?
I'm sorry. I mean, I said what I said on my page, and I don't really have anything more or even feel comfortable even speaking on it.
Yeah, the CBS interview's going viral online. He was standing up and very angry.
It's just sad. The whole situation in every aspect. I've said all I could say on it.
Yeah, the Me Too movement, women empowerment, anything that you would like to add in terms of the environment in the music industry, experiences you had, and what you would like to see changed about the business and how those in power go about promoting certain artists, anything you have in that area?
That's such a broad one because there's so many things that need to be fixed when we speak about women in industries in general, corporate, whether it be entertainment, whatever avenue in general. I think being a woman can be very difficult because you're in these positions where you're, you don't always know what sexual harassment is or feels like till you go through it. You don't always know how you're meant to handle that or what to say, and if your job is at stake, do you quit? Those are all things that I think we have to keep the conversation going about so people can learn and understand what to do. First of all, so some men that might be ignorant, that might not know, they can understand where the boundary line draws. For people that are intentional in overstepping their boundaries for power or personal gain, can understand that there's consequence. And for women to be able to say, oh, this is where the bar starts. This is how I can be able to gauge that situation, because a lot of women don't know. When you think about the turning point from being a young girl to being a grown woman, it's very fragile, because a lot of the things you were able to do as a young girl, you don't know as you grow into being a grown woman that men take differently. That's a conversation that I think really needs to be had a lot more often, so people can understand where a young woman's mind is. You might look at her, she might be 20 years old and she might have this quote unquote great body, but inside she's still transitioning from being a kid. So her actions and the way she moves and what she thinks, it's not going to always be comparable to what she means. And that's, again, those are the things we have to talk about, and get the conversation going about, so people can become more aware and have a reason. People should always be accountable, but the more aware they are, the less non-accountable they can be.
Did you have any bad experience when you were in the business, especially early on, young in the business?
I had both. I had good experiences, and I had not so good experiences. And it's come to put me in the place of where I'm saying what I'm saying to you right now. I've been in a position where older men have in my life actually encouraged me to understand I was changing from being a little girl to being a woman, and that I have to make sure that I'm careful of how other people may perceive me and what I'm doing, because even though in my mind I'm a little girl, they're seeing me become a woman, and those are moments that I appreciate. And then I've had other moments where people that have known me since I was a kid address me in a way that I never knew that they could or would, because now I've changed. Physically, I look different, and my ID now says 18 and up, and that was jarring to know and understand how to handle those situations with people that knew you as a kid, now addressing you in a different way. It can be very mind-boggling. So I've been through both, and I speak from experience.
Yeah, I imagine that can be intimidating, especially if your parents are with you on the road early on, but then as you get older in the business, you're traveling with so many different people.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and you mentioned a person you met, a friend of yours who was kind of helping you. Was that like a mentor that helped you kind of stay away from maybe the negative side of things in the business?
I mean, throughout my career, I've seen this person. The person was Ice Cube. We haven't always remained crazy in touch, but anytime I've seen him, it's always been fond feelings for me, for the simple fact that he went out his way as a man and a father. I've always been a friendly young woman, and he went out his way as a father to let me know what the transition of me being a child meant to me as becoming a woman, and how that might change the way that I conduct myself. Now, no, that doesn't mean I can't be nice and I can't be friendly. That just means I have to be more aware of how other people may perceive that. And of course, that's a heavy responsibility, but that's one of the burdens of being a woman that no one really wants to, we don't like it. It's not, what I mean? That's a difficult thing. And I think men too have that burden. I just wouldn't know it as well because I'm not a man. I just know the one of being a woman. It's just about talking about that and making people more aware, so they can be accountable.
Are you still in touch with him?
I haven't talked to him in such a long time. I would love to work with him again, though, because like I said, it was a very, very positive experience for me. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see him again. I did 2 projects with him growing up. I did Long Shots and I did Barbershop 2. He gave me my first role ever. And like I said, he went out his way to teach me something, and he's a good person.
And you were asked on the stage about the issue of income in the industry, being paid the same as people who are comparable, actors who are in comparable positions. You also said that was one of the many things that you would like to see changed. What were some of the other ones, if you could just expand a little bit on that?
Oh man, the list goes on. I mean, that's one. I mean, I also wish that when it came to children, entertainers, that maybe in SAG-AFTRA that they could create something to where the children have to go to therapy. I think understanding the mental effects that acting can take on an adult, let alone a child, has kind of been overlooked. And playing with your emotions like that, they're not a joke to your emotions. You're actually going through the feelings and the trauma of whatever that situation might be. And I think a lot of child entertainers, when they go through those things, people don't realize how they affect them in the future. So I mean, I would love if something like that was implemented. Mental health was more implemented when it came to entertainers, outside. In kind of in a more controlled way, like how they do the Coogan accounts. I wish that it was mandatory to be able to understand and help these kids through what it is to be a child star.
Do you mean like the studios would provide that service?
Yes. Like a studio, because of course with SAG you have insurance, so you could go out and you could get your own therapist. But I wish that it was mandatory, period, in the same way that, maybe people's households don't understand therapy. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have it. You know what I mean? In the same way where a lot of people back in the day, when you think about it, they weren't always doing the right. They weren't always doing the right thing with the money. So they created the KeKe account to make sure that the child still had money when they became an adult. They had money that they purposely saved for them, despite what was happening at the time that they were actually working in film as a kid. And I wish that it was the same thing when it came to therapy. I wish there was a mandatory thing that had to happen, just to ensure that their mental health was intact.
All right.
And that's just one of the things. I mean, like I said, you can go on days for things in the industry that you wish you would change, that you want to change in society, in the world, everything. It's an endless list. We just got to take it one step at a time.
And then with your music and your future projects, will we see some more music from you coming up?
Yeah.
Anybody you're looking to specifically work with?
Nobody necessarily I'm looking to specifically work with, but I definitely have an album on the way. I just dropped my second single, Better to Have Loved. It's available now everywhere on all platforms, and so you should have some more stuff coming to you very soon.
That's awesome. All right. And the other question I had for you, too, is with streaming and everything changing in the industry. You started very young. What do you think about the streaming and how popular things have become? Is it better for the industry overall, or would you like to...
I think it's better for the artists. I think it's better for the artists, at least in the position that it is right now. Things change, and things always can become more and more and more and more corporate, and the control of the talent can always become more diluted, which you would hope wouldn't happen. And right now, it's as if we have a little bit more of the control in our hands when it comes to our audience being able to get to our music freely and fairly, just by choice and not by position. It seems like it's given an opportunity for us to really reach our people the way that we want to, in a natural and authentic way, that's been missing in the industry for a long time. So for that reason, right now, I'm very happy about streaming and what it's been able to do for people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
You too.